Hello, I'm going to be doing another grief share today. Um, I've been thinking a lot today, particularly about churches and kind of where I stand with churches. I feel like a lot of people, or most people, probably have these things in life that they just care a lot about. Um, it's probably different for everybody, but I could think of a few things that I've spent years trying to get to a certain place with. Um, like for example, I've always tried to find a type of jerky that I really like, beef jerky. Um, I've spent a lot of time and energy, money, trying to find just a really good jerky that I can like and eat. Um, I guess I guess there was a time when I did have a good one. Um, I don't know if it was um like my uncle made me some and I just really enjoyed it, but I just haven't been able to find a really good jerky for a long time. And I can tell you I've tried lots of different ones, and finally found a decent one not too long ago. But um, that's just an example of something I've spent years into trying to find the right thing. I assume, like I said, most people feel that way about something. I've also experienced that with therapists, psychologists, things like that. I've spent a lot of time and effort and years into trying to find a psychologist that I feel like fits me and I can talk to them and they'll tell you what you need to hear and they're helpful and things like that. Unfortunately, I have not been able to do that, but I have spent a lot of years and time and effort, money into that. Um, but one of the main things that I've tried to put a lot of time and effort into is finding a church. Um, as a child, um, I've had maybe one or two good experiences of being in a church that I liked, and I've always wanted to be in a church um, since that point. But I've struggled to try to find the right thing since I was young. Um, and I don't know if that comes from having a good experience and wanting to have that good experience again, or is it just something that randomly matters to a person? I don't know, but I do find that usually things that I invest a lot of time and energy into come from starting with having a good experience and always wanting to chase it. Um, I'm sure it sounds a lot like somebody trying to find the same high as a drug, but I think everybody just goes through that with something. So anyway, I mean, church happens to be something that is it's okay um, to enjoy, to try to find the right thing. But just like anything else, you can get tired of searching for the right one. You can get tired of trying to find something or some place that you feel satisfied with. Now, unfortunately, as a child, I didn't know it would be this hard. I always kind of figured that finding a church was easy. I mean, they're everywhere. You can find one like where I live now. There's literally one next door. I can go to church next door if I want to. But um, excuse me, the older I get, the more I realize it's just not that simple. Um, which still confuses me because I feel like with as many churches are out there, there should be as many different varieties that you can find that fits you. But kind of like I was saying with with things in life, it can get tiring to try to keep trying things over and over. So we as humans, I guess, just get tired of it. But um, I just find it very odd that I tend to see kind of the same things over and over at churches. And I apologize. I know it's probably more like venting now for me, but I just I'm so frustrated with the way churches are, because I want to go to church so badly, and I just find more and more what people call religiousness. I mean, there seems to be just very few variations on this, but there's um there's the preacher that tends to focus a lot on history, and I just have no desire to listen to that. And there's preachers out there that raise their voice. I don't like that kind of thing. There's some that tend to focus on a lot of negative. The world is getting darker and darker, and things are just so bad out there right now, and out in the world. And I've had a pastor that just felt like if you committed one sin, you were going to hell. I mean, I remember going through that kind of thing too. Um, and then there's I think I may have talked about this before, but there's the pastors that only want to talk about inspirational and nothing else. I've been trying to watch some services online to determine if I want to go to a church, and I see one where it's just the entire message is formed around running with horses, and it's meant to be like an inspirational, like we need to want to run with horses and be better people. I've seen several messages like that when I've been looking for churches. And I'm just getting more and more tired. You know, I think I've talked about before how I kind of just want a service that feels like it's more um, about useful things in life. You just won't find a lot of pastors that are talking about conflict, but I guarantee you, everybody in the world has been through conflict one way or another, and I would really love some help on how to deal with it. And it doesn't even have to be, very detailed or anything, but I just feel like I want more help. I don't want a history lesson. I don't want to be made to feel shame for committing sins. I just want some help. And I mean, I have talked about how that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my weekly videos. I'm sure there's still things that I could be more helpful with, but that's kind of where the direction I'm going to. I want things that are just um, give me more guidance in some kind of way. So um, I know it's not easy because a lot of people are not in the position to be a pastor and things like that. And I think a lot of them get tainted from going through um, a university, things like that. And I do feel like there's an expectation from a lot of um, church councils that the pastor needs to have some kind of education too. So, I feel like that all kind of persuades things, and I don't really look down on pastors um, because I feel like it is a very difficult position. I can't help that. I just really want to hear more useful things for life. I remember that in school. Not that I knew at the time, but I remember I feel looking back, when I look at my classes, I just don't feel like there was a lot of um, useful, like, for example, math problems that were helpful for life. I remember sometimes they would give us word problems and the whole class would just groan because it just wasn't something that was focused on. But when I look back now, I do feel like the word problems were the most useful because they were really talking about real life situations. And I just wish that, like, our math classes had been mostly word problems. I don't think it would have been so bad if it had been more real life examples. I remember one time when I was being homeschooled for a year, um, my sister tried to help me some, and she took me outside and tried to show me how to learn some of the math equations that I had. um, with shapes and things like that. It was very helpful, and that's what I feel like um, class should be. And that's, I mean, I'm not expecting the pastor to go out and show us how to do math problems, but I do feel like there are so many communication things that we can talk about as Christians, pastors, whoever. It doesn't have to be everything from the Bible and things like that. But um, I mean, if you've seen some of my other videos, you can see how the Bible can be referenced easily. And sometimes there will be things that come from the Bible, verses or whatever. But it doesn't have to be all verses either. So anyway, there's a balance to it. But I'm just mostly trying to express my frustration with what I've ran into with churches and pastors, and I miss having good experiences in church. I really haven't had it in many years, and I think people are human, and you are going to run into things the older you get. Some of the best memories I have are when I was younger and I just didn't know anything. But the same problems were there. I just didn't know. But I do remember feeling like what was being talked about in church was more useful for me. But anyway, I don't want to go on too long, and so I'm going to try to wrap it up. But um, I just want to encourage you to try to find your own way, your own path, whatever that looks like towards God, and I guess that's what I'll be doing too. So anyway, thank you for watching, and have a good day.